Hey there. It is time for me to explain some stuff that went on these last month and a half-ish, and why some of my videos were going no video today, lots of stuff going on, or that I was having some anxiety. So at the top of January 9th, my husband was in a fender bender, and he was trying to avoid a very aggressive driver who was steadily trying to hit him while at a red light, and then was going to hit him when that light turned green as he was merging into the lane. And to avoid him, in doing so, my husband then hit the person in front of him. And luckily, it was like a tap. No airbags, no whiplash, no injuries. Fortunately for my husband and the car in front of him, the person in front of him was very understanding. And of course the car behind him did nothing, but, so it was cosmetic damage for the front car, just like those up and down scuff marks. And for us, it was cosmetic. There was a push in and the grill cracked, and there were scuff marks. And we had to, through our insurance company, find a collision repair place that, they supplied the list. But before we chose one, we took our car into our mechanic, and our mechanic started as just my mechanic, in 2007. So this mechanic has seen 3 cars of ours, plus my dad's, and we referred friends and neighbors. So we trust our mechanic with our lives. And they knew they couldn't look at the car without breaching any rules, because they themselves also do insurance adjusting for companies, but not ours. So, hands in pocket, just looking around and asking questions. They said, this is all cosmetic. And we just did some work on her a month ago. So they're like, this, if you can get a check payout from the insurance company, since some insurance companies just give a check for repair, they're like, we can repair this for $1,200. It's not a big deal. And collision places are going to inflate it to ensure profit and whatnot. But they're like, this is less than a $2,000 fix. So, and they're in with a Highlander, because we had a 2008 Toyota Highlander, fully paid off for years now. We got her used in 2017. And they're like, there's absolutely no way this will get totaled, because it's cosmetic, and Highlanders, Kelley Blue Book values, they're so sought after. No problem. And we chose a collision place. The mechanic gave their 2 cents as to, on our list, who they knew of. And this place was close to us and within driving distance to an Enterprise car rental, so that they could pick my husband up. Because with our insurance, we had a $50 a day covered up to $1,500 for a car rental. So 30 days. And so we brought the car into the collision place within a week of everything happening, because we had to make appointments and everything and get approval from insurance. And it was a process to get our insurance company to do things. And, the person at the collision place looked it over and gave the preliminary estimate and said, no problem, this will get repaired. It'll be approved. And then the mechanic looked it over and agreed there is 0 internal damage. There is no safety issues, no problem with the frame of the vehicle or anything. It's purely cosmetic. So they submitted their stuff. Ooh, Pretzel just kicked the phone. Hang on. So the collision place submitted the documentation and estimate to the insurance company, And like 7, 9 days would go by and we would call the collision place and say, hey, have you heard anything? And they're like, no. We'd call State Farm and they're like, oh yeah, here it is. Let me approve it, blah, blah, blah. Like it was just not being done at the insurance company. And the insurance company would never contact us directly. They would contact the collision place and say like, hey, tell them that they have to call us. It's like, why are you creating a middle person? You can just call us. Like, I didn't understand the process. And the collision place was like, yeah, some insurance companies are like this. I'm like, well, I don't know. So it would take days and days. And mind you, we are just ticking down, counting down how long we have our rental covered. And then, you know, the collision place is like, okay, now that the mechanic looked at it, and they're submitting their information. So it's like, it was just submission of a paper, waiting for approval. It was just mind numbing. And then, like a week before our car rental would be up, we were like, we got to get moving here because we're winding down on our car rental. And it's not because you've started work and it's taking a while. It's because our insurance company is not on the ball in looking over documentation and approving things and letting, you know, the collision place know, yeah, do this, whatever. Hang on, Pretzels is shifting again. Okay, she's settled. So we called the collision place and they were like, okay, hang on. And they called back and they said, okay, it's been approved. The repair has been approved and we're going to order parts because, you know, it's a 2008. So we have to like special order things and they'll be here probably on Monday. We're going to order Friday and we begin work. It'll be 2 to 3 days. Like, everything will be in the nick of time with the car rental. And we're like, okay. And they're like, you know, you'll hear from us on Friday once we've ordered the parts. So, and this was like, you know, Monday or Tuesday of that week. Well, Friday comes along, and by the time my husband left work, he's like, I haven't heard from them, so I'm going to call them before I, you know, leave. So he called, and they were like, well, I have a note here that says that you need to call your insurance company. And my husband's like, I thought you were supposed to be starting to order parts and do the work. And they're like, no, nothing's been ordered. What are you talking about? There was a lot of miscommunication, a lot of too many hands in the pot. Like, we were talking to 3 different people at the collision place. Our go-to person with the insurance company often was not available. Excuse me. So we were just getting this runaround. And so it took forever for my husband to get a hold of the insurance person. And he is like the main name. So he was in contact and I'm like, I don't want to get involved and add in like another person in this mix to cause more confusion. So he finally got a hold of the insurance guy, who also was like, yeah, no, this will get repaired. Like, it's a Highlander and the value and blah, blah, blah. So the insurance guy was like, I just have to confirm some things, you know, for the Kelley Blue Book value. And they didn't care that nearly like everything internally in our car was new. Like, we got new stuff put in her in December. We were investing money because we were told we would have like another 8 to 10 years on her because of how well we maintained her and the repairs and the maintenance. There was no reason we couldn't get like another 150,000 miles out of her, all this stuff. But they were just asking for information about her features. Now, when we got her, she was a basic. Like, whoever owned her prior didn't get bells and whistles. And that's fine. We are not bells and whistle people. We're point A to point B people. And so they were like, oh, does it do this? No. Can it do that? No. Does it have this feature? Well, no. Can it do that? Like, short of it flying, like, it drives. It didn't have navigation. It didn't have a car alarm. It didn't have heated seats. Like, it just didn't. And they're like, okay, well, the value of the car, because it's so basic, and the repairs mean we have to total it. And this was told to us on the last day our rental would be covered, because we had the rental by then for 30 days. And all this time, everybody's going, it's approved, we're going to go do this. We approved that paperwork. We're going to do that. So for 30 days, we were under the impression our car was covered with the repair and we're going to get her back. And then on the last day of the car rental, we're told she's totaled. And in 2 days, we're going to be giving her up, clear her out, fill out the forms. They'll cut us a check for the value and say goodbye. What? Like, we were stunned and panicking. And we were like, but why? For the last 30 days was everyone we talked to at the collision place and the insurance company going, this is approved, no problems here, off we go. And then on the 30th day, you do a little checkup on the Kelley Blue Book value, and the cost of the repair is worth 80% of the value of the car, so you're totaling it. What? And because they were just going off of her basicness rather than sorry, my alarm went off. You were going off of her basic features and not that she has nearly everything internally new within her. Her value wasn't high enough. It didn't care that she was running smoother than smooth, mint condition. I'm not talking about the crumbs in the car. I'm talking about, you wouldn't know she's a 2008 type of thing. And they totaled it. And so after work, my husband cleared her out, and then we had to give up keys and sign paperwork. And it took almost another week to get the cash, like the check for her value. And we had no car. And we tried to fight them to cover more rental, since it was the insurance company's fault for taking so long for every step of the way. Even the collision place in the end was like, yeah, this did take a while. It's like, well, why didn't you fight it either with us? I don't know. This is our first time going through this, so maybe I'm being naive. So immediately I am hopping on the computer trying to find us a car. And, I grew up with my parents buying clunkers and lemons and dropping so much money on these cars that ended up just dying within a year. And I never wanted to repeat that for us. And when we buy a car, it's an investment, and it's a long-term investment. We joke with our kids that they will be driving these cars into their 30s as well. So I was going on the car dealer websites. I was looking at Carvana. I was looking everywhere and talking to our mechanic for any leads. And we ended up going to the car dealership where we got our car originally, the one that was totaled, which is so frustrating because you could have driven her away. She was fine. But I digress. And we found a car that was like 2 hours away. We were ready to drive to. Like, it was non-stop. I was looking up, VIN ID numbers for the histories. It was consuming me. And then in addition to figuring out the money for it, like, we got a check for the value of our old car. But that's like pennies with how much used cars are. And by us buying privately, even our mechanic is like, that is just not a good idea unless you're buying from a reputable mechanic. There's so many scams by us and so many people camouflaging a wrecked car underneath some nice paint. It's not good to buy privately around where I am. So I was like spending so much time figuring out finances and bouncing ideas off my husband, and he's, making phone calls and emails to places. Like, we're going with what our strengths are in tag teaming this process. And we were down to like no hope. And then I hopped on the car dealership website, and there was a new car listed, used, but a new car listed on their inventory. And the inventory wasn't even fully updated. It was like, call the dealership for more info. And I was like, and we're calling. And figured out a way to make a down payment work and financing, and went to see the car, drove the car, took it to our mechanic. It needs like a new mirror, which they're going to fix, the dealership, in like a week or two. And we bought the car. So from the time that we got the totaled verdict to the car was 7 days. but it was the longest 7 days of our lives because we're a one-car family. And this car needs to run and work and be spectacular. It's our lifeline for my husband's work, to getting to doctors, to just the daily mundane errands. And we're not a two-car family to afford insurance on 2 cars and things like that, at least in this season of life. And we got another Highlander. It's a he this time. A 2012 Highlander Limited. We had a 2008 Highlander Sport, and we totally stand by Toyotas, and we're a Highlander family, but we were looking at RAVs, which were a little too small, but we'd make it work. And Siennas, we saw 2, but they slipped through our fingers within like 10 hours of us finding and inquiring about them. Those are like 3 main cars that our mechanic suggested. But like Toyotas are the way to go. We had like no problems outside of age-related things. Our old car was named Clara for Back to the Future 3, Clara. And this car is named Conrad Birdie for Bye Bye Birdie. So yeah. But it was hard. And other people might think it's dramatic, but it's hard when you're going around being told everything is fine and then being told it's not. They take your car and you know fully well it's a fine car still. It just needed a little plastic surgery. So yeah. But it's all done. All done. And I told my kids, like, we are taking very good care of this car. Like, we let the interior go with our old car in terms of crumbs and cluttering it with things. I'm like, not this time, children. And they're older and they understand it more and they understand the importance of it. They went through the car buying with us, so they got to see how it works. They got a day off from homeschool and a real life lesson. That's for sure. So that's what went on. And I am so glad it's over. I kept repeating my late mother-in-law's phrase of "this too shall pass." And my husband goes, "Like a kidney stone, but it will pass." But it's just hard because we invested so much into our old car and we knew where we were at with her and we knew what was to come. And it's kind of scary to start over with a new car, new to us car, and know that we will have to invest in it again, especially if you want to keep him for a while. But that's just life. And yeah. All right, that's the story in a nutshell. Okay. I'm tired rethinking about everything. I feel like my eyes are just like becoming just so tired. Alrighty. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.